Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. And right now, you're railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker. We have the honor and the privilege of having the greatest man alive join us here for yet another episode of Railing here on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. The greatest man alive, Corey RocBottom Davis of RocBottom Studios, is here for another discussion. But this time, we're going to talk about the granddaddy of them all.
Oh, yes.
The big one. WrestleMania 39.
Yes.
Coming to you live here very soon. The Bloodline storyline is coming to a head. So many moving parts in this pay-per-view. Some of them that sound incredibly intriguing. Some of them are kind of like, why are they doing that?
Right.
But it still has the shapings of being a pretty entertaining two-night event. So, Corey, let's start from the top and work our way down. And by starting from the top, I mean starting with the Bloodline. First off, do you feel like, or how do you feel about the idea of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos being the night one main event?
I like the idea of that. Reason being, you want to have that lead up to the big one. I think that's a good appetizer for the main course. What I'm saying.
I like how you put that.
Yeah, so now, granted, it should be Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I just feel like, we'll get it. I'll save that for the end. I'll save that. But I'll say what I'm about to say. But anyway, I think, I think everybody saw it coming. Everybody saw that it would be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going for the tag titles. I think they took their time building that up. And in the end, it was borderline rushed because we were getting down to the wire. I mean, it's almost time for the pay-per-view, and they didn't, it took them long enough to kind of build that up. And in the course of one SmackDown, Kevin Owens had a change of heart. They could have milked it, but I think they should have started it earlier. To the point where that SmackDown could have taken 2 episodes before Kevin Owens came around. That's just me.
No,
but we knew it was going to end up being that, and I think the whole thing with Jay, and all of that. There's some components of it that are messy, but I saw this coming.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just nitpicking at this point. So I'm glad it finally did go down because I want to see this match.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that you're nitpicking.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it from a storytelling perspective. I mean, you don't sell out a Jet Boy graphic novels all over this country because people just like looking at it. It's the stories that you write, the stories that you tell with that character and the people involved in that character's life. Same thing with Shadow Club. You have people who come to these events. You do all the major conferences, and your comic books and your collections are sought after, and it's because you're a storyteller. So, I feel what you're saying about them building up to that point, but as it gets closer and closer to the big event, how that culmination, that reunion felt a little rushed.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of disappointing how rushed it was, but at the same time, to see that hug go down, you got it. You got to admit, it got you. It got you where it counts. So I mean, that kind of makes you forget, about anything being rushed or whatever, and it gets you hyped up, and now you're ready to see this match. Now I feel, going back to the original question, I feel like I said that's the perfect appetizer to the main course.
Okay.
I think we all have a feeling of what's going to happen, unless they have one major swerve happening or planned. But I think I am ready to see the bloodline go. And I am ready to see them go like this. I would rather see those belts on Sammy and Kevin, and it makes all of everything that happened all of these months over the years make sense.
Yes. And
it did, build up the KO and Sammy relationship to where they're back to where they were. And, you now you want to see this tag match go down. The Usos and Roman Reigns, just the entire bloodline, have held gold long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time for them to move on.
I agree.
It's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
There's the talk around the campfire that Roman Reigns is going to take off for a pretty sizable amount of time, which he should. I mean, he's been a workhorse.
He's earned it.
Yeah, even with him being on a part-time schedule, his part-time schedule made a lot more sense than Brock Lesnar's part-time schedule. Or somebody along those lines if you're going to compare him.
Mm-hmm. Goldberg.
But right.
Yeah.
And I think
and I don't say that because I have an issue with Goldberg, because I don't. I've been a Goldberg fan since I was a kid. So Goldberg good with me, but everybody has an expiration date.
Right, exactly. And I think that, it's time for Roman to kind of go and chill out for a year or two. Pop back up at the Royal Rumble 2 years from now or something like that. Get the fan pop, then. Yeah, I think that would, I think that's the best thing, because it's being, it's been rumored that he is going to take, a substantial amount of time off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's just kind of like, okay, well, we already know what's going to happen. But then the rumor popped up yesterday that he wasn't dropping the belt to Cody.
Mm-hmm.
So then you never know what's going to happen. But I just personally think that with Sammy and Kevin, I think this is the perfect way to kick off that weekend.
Yes.
I think it's the perfect way to kind of put the heat on Roman for the next night.
Yes.
I think that this is like if Sammy and Kevin come through and they come out, I mean, there's absolutely no way they can't come out of this as winners. Yeah. It's been built up too much to the point where even if they pull the swerve and they lost, I mean, everybody's going to hate WWE after that. I mean, I'm just looking at it like, I think, you've got this. They've got their own storyline amongst themselves.
Yes,
within the bloodline.
Very, very well done at that aspect. Also, yes. The stories within the stories, because there's still a story within the story that they haven't concluded yet, and that's Roman and Jay.
Right.
That's where it started.
Right. And that's the thing about it. Like, this is what if the bloodline's going to fall apart. Then I think that's what's going to be the next feud. Yeah.
And see, I wrote an article on ThisEnt.com. I do the Royal Rumble countdown each year. And one of the people I profiled was Jay. And saying I profiled Jay and Sammy, actually, saying, reasons why both of them should win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania and be champion. But one of the things I predicted that didn't happen was Cody winning the Royal Rumble, which for a lot of reasons was an obvious choice.
Right.
But on a previous episode of the podcast, I talked about the Royal Rumble coming down to Sammy and Jay. Now, can you imagine the tension of that for one, the suspense for another, and where it could have gone had they been the last two and Jay threw Sammy out or Sammy threw Jay out for either of them the main event WrestleMania against Roman? I mean, I think the tension would be even higher in where the story is going right now than it is with Cody, actually.
Yeah, and I would have loved to see that. I actually would have loved to see that happen and just keep that bloodline storyline going all the way up until WrestleMania, and whoever won can face Cody at a later date, maybe SummerSlam or something.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Cody, let's face it, he's been gone for a minute.
Yes.
So for him to just come back and immediately win the Royal Rumble,
right.
I mean, that's giving me Cena vibes. That's giving me Cena vibes. And yes, it was unfortunate what happened to him. He had only been back for like maybe 5 minutes before he got hurt.
Right.
And, it's sad, but to see him on his first night back win the Rumble.
Right.
I mean,
and he came in at number 30.
Right. I mean, that's Cena vibes all day. And so I'm just like, man, so it's like they were saying, like, it's the politics that kept Sami Zayn, who was in the hot seat. He was white hot. He was what Daniel Bryan was a few years back.
Yeah.
And they dropped the ball on him until they couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yes.
And they finally let him win. It's the same thing. They did the same thing with Kofi.
Yes.
They did the same thing with CM Punk.
Yes.
He got it the worst.
And giving him a lesser title is not going to stoke the flames. It's not going to satisfy people who are hungry to see them be world champions. It's not.
When they're white hot and they're ready to go, and the audience is like chanting their names and wanting them to be in that position, that's when you put them in there. But it's the politics behind it.
It is.
They felt like they could probably get a bigger draw from Cody just because Cody is Cody.
Yes. And that's smart on Triple H's part and whoever else, had a hand in the decision making.
Right.
I mean, regardless of what position Cody was in All Elite Wrestling as an on-screen character.
Right.
He still left WWE and made himself a superstar.
Yep.
When he left AEW, regardless of the amounts of boos he was getting, he was a superstar.
Exactly.
And all those people that were booing him in AEW when he was feuding with Sammy Guevara over the TNT title are the same people who are cheering him in his return to WWE.
Yep.
Because I think ultimately that's what I think fans wanted. Their fans wanted to see Cody be world champion. His run with the Ring of Honor world title was dope.
Yeah.
His run with the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship was dope.
Right.
His return to WWE, yeah. I mean, people want to see. They want to see that.
Yeah,
they want to see it.
And arguably, that 5-star match with him and his brother at AEW.
Oh, imagine if that had been for a title.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Like, yes, that is the type of energy that he can bring.
Now let's stick with that. Let's stay here. The main event: Roman Reigns, the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion versus Cody Rhodes. Main event, night 2. This is the big one. Should WWE consider allowing Dustin to be in his brother's corner?
I think they should. I think they should. I think, and if Triple H is about what he says he's about, I think that he would see the benefit in that as well. And I think that would be, I think that would be beneficial. That would be, because it'll be monumental.
Yes.
If they are building it the way that they've been building it, where every other week they're talking about Dusty, and they're bringing up the idea that Dusty never won the big one. His brother never won the big one. This is a legacy thing.
Come on now.
Why not let his brother come in there?
Yes.
Why not let his brother, if he is still, especially if he's still actively, if he's still signed, like I don't know how long his contract is with AEW or when it expires or whatever. But look at it from every angle. What if Cody is on the verge of winning this thing, and Dustin hits him in the balls or something?
Ooh.
It's just like he pulled the swerve because he felt like he deserves it.
Ooh.
And he cost Cody the match. And yeah, so then that'll open the door for a feud between him and Dustin, which might open up that forbidden door.
Ooh. Come on now.
That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking on my part.
Ooh. That's a good one.
Yeah, oh man, yeah. But to stay grounded in the reality of it.
Yes.
If they really want to make this thing something, make it worth having this match. If you want to talk about Dusty every week and not have Cody win this thing and take it all, then what was all that talk about Dusty for?
Right.
With all that talk about his family, his legacy, what was all that for if he's not going to take it? So if he is going to take it, why not let his brother be there? In his corner, not just buying a ticket, he's in the front row, the camera gets a shot of him, every now and then, whatever. But no, have him come down with his brother.
Thank you for listening to Railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker, on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and support the platform wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow The Whip Show podcast on all social media, and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joe Walker. No excuses. Championships only. Be kind, be creative, win.